Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The topic of our today's presentation is types of research design based on reference period. Previously, we talked about the research design, what is actually a research design, what is its view, what are different aspects that are covered, they should be addressed by a research design. And then we talked about the types of the research design on the basis of number of contacts with the population, how often our population can be, or the study samples can be contacted. Today we will be talking about another type of the research design that is based on the reference period of the study. Based upon the reference period of the study, we have got about three types. Reference period, or the time period, it refers to the time frame in which a study is exploring a phenomenon, situation, event, or problem. Whenever you are working on any topic, and what exact time frame is being utilized for that research work, whether you will be working for some data which is, or an event or a phenomena which has occurred in the past, whether you are going to study an event or phenomena or a sample which is right now with you, or whether you are going to work on a phenomena or an incident or a situation which might be occurring in the future. So based upon this time frame perspective, there are three types of research design. That is the retrospective, the prospective, and the third type is retrospective prospective study design. The retrospective study design, it investigates a phenomena or a situation, a problem or issue that has happened in the past. They are usually conducted either on the basis of the data that is available for that period or on the basis of the respondent's recall of the situation. For example, in social sciences, you interview the persons about a certain incident and then you record their based upon their interview and based upon their findings, what they have felt at that particular period of time. So that is mostly applicable to the social sciences. However, in biomedical sciences, the data is collected from a time period that the phenomena has occurred in the past, and you collect the data that is available to you. For example, we'll try to understand this type of retrospective study by the example that is antibiotic susceptibility profile of bacterial isolates from post-surgical wounds of patients visiting Khyber Teaching Hospital, Pakistan. Now, based upon this, now in this example, if you are planning to, let's say, the study has already been conducted, what we have done, that is a study done by one of my students, that Khyber Teaching Hospital, Peshawar, my student has done, he has gone to these wards, which has got this admitted patients of post-surgical wounds. The persons, they have already got surgeries for some sort, and then they have got these wounds because of the surgery, and then they've got sepsis and different other problems, and those persons were, so they've already got the disease, the post-surgical wounds. What we have done, we have collected different samples from the patients, different swab samples, and then we have we inoculated them into different media. Then we got the cultures, and then we went for the antibiotic susceptibility profiling of those bacterial isolates, whether those bacteria, they are still and susceptible to the standard antibiotics or not, and then we have got some interesting findings from that work. The point is, patients have already got the disease before the study was conducted, which was initiated, and then we move before the time span to look into the disease. Another example is comparison of pulmonary and extrapulmonary tuberculosis in Pakistan, a hospital-based retrospective study. This is another standard example where a group of scientists, what they have done is they have got these patients admitted at a hospital. Some of them were, all of them were actually, in fact, the patients of tuberculosis. Some of them had got pulmonary tuberculosis, and few of the patients, this pulmonary tuberculosis is expanded to the extrapulmonary sites in the body, are directly infected by the extrapulmonary tuberculosis. and then they've compared the disease, the risk that was involved, the body, different parameters, the different blood tests, and then the patients who have already got the disease, they've developed the disease, and then retrospectively they were analyzed for they were compared for two types of disease. Another example that is mostly related to the social sciences is the relationship between levels of unemployment and street crime. Whether if we have got, let's say, increased street crime, then we retrospectively look into the situation, we collect the data, and we possibly there is, this is just an hypothesis, possibly that this levels of unemployment, it has led to the development of street crime. So retrospectively we will look at, let's say, street criminals whosoever have been caught by the police, then they are going to investigate them, what is their what is the why they have got into this crimes, and if, let's say, significant uh, volume of persons they admit that they don't have any employment, that's why they have opted for the street crime, then there is definitely a relationship between them. So in retrospective studies, what we actually do is we study the phenomena, we study the situation that has happened in the past, and we collect the data today about that. For example, like we have got our group of interest, let's say we have got some cancer patient, lung cancer, let's say, patients, then we have this type of retrospective study, but with a case control design. In case control study, actually, we have got the cases of the patients which are compared with controls which do not have got the disease. And in today's time point, that is the present time, we have got some patients who have developed, let's say, lung cancers. And then we have patients who did not develop lung cancer. What we are going to do is we are going to take histories of both the groups, and then we let's say get the history, like if we get this knowledge from the history that okay, is most of the people, let's say more than 50% of the people in the cancer patients, they have some history of, let's say, smoking, more than 50% over here, let's say they have a history of smoking, then we are going to compare the non-patients, whether if, let's say, these patients who have not developed the disease lung cancer, they have no history of smoking, then from that we draw some conclusions. Okay, presume possibly, or if the data is significant, then we can decide for sure that smoking can lead to lung cancers. And but what happened is the disease there, it has already got into the persons, and we have taken the histories, we have moved back into the time frame, and we have checked for the possible cause of the disease. This is a retrospective study design. The other type of study design is the prospective study design. It refers to the likely prevalence of a phenomena, disease, or situation or outcome which is going to happen in the future. Such studies attempt to establish the outcome of an event which is likely to happen. Experiments are usually classified as experiment or prospective study, as the researcher must wait for an intervention to register its effect on the study population. These vaccination study, which from today's time point, we are starting the study. We are, let's say, going to uh, look out the impact of a possible therapeutic intervention. So in this type of study, we look into the study population, and we look the outcome in the future. Following different types of studies are classified, let's say, the prospective study, for example, to determine under field conditions the impact of maternal and child health services on the level of infant mortality. For example, you have today got some data of infant mortality, then you provide the maternal services, child health services, and then you see whether this infant mortality is going to decrease or not. Another is determination of smoking as a possible risk factor for lung cancer. Now, what today, in retrospective study, the patients, they've already got the lung disease or cancer, and then we look into their past or histories to assess whether smoking has led to this lung cancer. In a prospective design, what we actually do is let's say we select, let's say, 50 persons who are smoker, 50 persons who are not smoker, non-smoker, and then we look into their lives. We check over a period of, let's say, a decade, 10 years maybe, and then we check whether they are going to develop lung cancer or not. If that is the case, then possibly smoking has led to the development of lung cancer. So this is a prospective study. From today's time point, we will be looking, we will be working, we will be analyzing the subjects over into the future to determine the impact of random breath testing on prevention of road accident. Today, you just throw out a message that okay, from now on, random blood testing is must for every person who is uh, bringing car on the road, and if the persons, then it is a likelihood that the people they will start using the alcohol before driving. Yeah, random breath testing is done for the assessment whether person have got this the level of alcohol in their blood, what is the level, permissible level. If it is beyond the permissible level, a person is not allowed to drive a car. So if because of this random breath testing, we are going to look the impact of it, and if we are going to look into the statistics of the road accidents, whether this random breath testing has led to a decline in road accidents or not. All these studies are going to be conducted in the future. The prospective study designs now, let's say today, this is time point of today. Let's say group of interest, you have got some smoker, you have got some control, a comparison of non-smoker, you are going to follow them over time. Possibly some of the smokers, they might develop lung disease, whereas if you look at the non-smokers, very small proportion of them might develop lung disease, and then you are going to compare the outcomes in the future, and then you are going to decide that whether smoking has led to the development of cancer or not. So this is a prospective study design. Another type of study design is a combination of two, which is also been being done, and which is called as the retrospective prospective studies, which focus on the past trends in a phenomena and study it into the future. Part of the data is collected retrospectively from the existing records before the intervention is introduced, and then the study population is followed to ascertain the impact of the intervention in the future. Uh, a study is classified as retrospective prospective study when you measure the impact of an intervention without having a control group. That's a restriction of such type of study, that without a control group you work. For example, again, you can again, I've said it in the previous lectures and to add it today as well, that some of these study types, study design might overlap. Some of the studies, they might fit into one category, they might also can be fit into another category as well. For example, the impact of maternal and child health services on the infant mortality rate. You can collect the samples, you can, let's say, look out for some data of the infant mortality and whether they were provided with maternal and child health services or not. You collect it from the present, from the past, and from present you are going to extend the study. You are going to provide the maternal service and health services, and look at its impact over the period of the time in the future, let's say, and then you are going to compare whether this uh, child and health services, this campaign, this intervention has impacted, whether has resulted in decline of infant mortality or not. Effect of an advertisement on the sale of product. There's a very standard example in social sciences. Let's say you've got a product which is, you have got some statistics before the launch of a campaign of advertisement. Um, let's say this market sales value and rates, and then you initiate a campaign, an advertisement campaign, over, let's say, social media, or the television, and let's say with the cable, and then after a period of time, let's say maybe 4 to 6 months, then you look, during that time you collect the data again, you compare whether that advertisement has led to the increased sale of the product or not. So the study population, when you are in the present and you collect the data from the past, is the retrospective study design. You are in the present time and then you collect, you study the population over the course of time in the future, then this type or B type is called as a prospective study design. And another study design is, this is the present time, you collect some of the data from the past, and then some of the data may be collected from primary or secondary sources from the study population in the future, in the coming time. This is a retrospective prospective study design. Thank you so much for listening to the talk. Thank you.